Most of the things children are or are not supposed to do, know, understand, and planted by society. In Russia, you can't buy alcohol until you're 18 years old. Americans can't do it before they turn 21. Now, does it mean that Americans are lagging behind in development or something? Of course not. But why 14-year-olds are expected to be ready for that physics class and not for a sexual intercourse? Because I was not ready for that physics class. My classmates were already sleeping and breaking up with older boys with questionable morals. Because the chance for a decent man to appear in the picture is almost non-existent because 14-year-olds are so taboo. This situation forces some children to start relationships with the biggest dumbheads, and others just download hours of porn, and still their parents will be unhappy about that too. Sometimes I think that parents themselves miss that moment when their children become complete human beings that analyze stuff and remember some weird little details of their relationships with their parents. Usually everything that a parent does to his child should be perceived as something for the benefit of that child, and most of the time parents still perceive their child as something yet to be reborn into a human being, into a grown-up, and until that moment everything can be artificial, forced. A child can be lied to because they're a child and it's part of their education. And I believe that there is not a single thing in the world that you are supposed to lie about to your child. Not a single thing that you can lie about to your child. I can't come up with a single. Maybe you're just a bad parent. Maybe you're just trolling. It's true that children can't understand the full scope of a lot of things due to the lack of knowledge and experience, and it also is true that people can be a pretty shitty parents due to the lack of knowledge and experience, or because they're just shitty people. Adults don't need children's consent when they put them in schools where 1 in 3 children becomes a victim of bullying. Children don't despise schools because they're lazy and unwilling to learn. Children are curious, everybody knows that. They despise school because they see it as an extremely psychologically draining, more than a decade-long experience. There are teachers that ruin certain subjects for them. There are bullies who ruin their mental health. There is a social hierarchy they need to adjust to if they don't want their next decade of their lives to become unbearable. They concentrate on all of that and on how to write specific types of tests. And suddenly, there is not much time left for proper learning experience anyway. And of course, schools aren't the main problem. In Africa, that escalated quickly. In Africa, it's officially legal to abduct and rape little girls to make them marry, while parents just sit and watch, probably with a tidal wave of nostalgia, because according to a criminal justice official, bride kidnappers are virtually never tried in court, and if they are tried in court, they're released in a few days. Then there is Middle East, okay, where girls are being sold into marriage by their own parents, under the excuse that they're just children, and children don't know yet how to make beneficial decisions both for themselves and their family. Gabriella Gillespie.
PronounceNames.com.
Gillespie.
Do we have the correct pronunciation of your name?
An author of a book, A Father's Betrayal, writes,
"When this happens, you don't know you have rights as a human being. I was the last of my sisters to be sold, and perhaps I was the luckiest of us all. Weeks after arriving, my 14-year-old sister was to be given to a man we once called uncle. Not long after that, my other sister, then 17, took her own life on her wedding night after being sold to a 60-year-old man."
And she is not talking about an individual experience. It's called tradition.
Rambut kekal sehat dan harum bersentiasa.
Why is it relatives and those who portray themselves as children's best friends, like teachers, coaches, priests, are those who sexually abuse children the most or beat them up with no consequences? Why is it parents who sell their children into sex slavery because of more traditions? Why is it parents who are responsible for their children's genital mutilations? There is that one hype slogan I'm thinking about right now. Oh yeah, that's the one. For decades, it's been known that 90% of sexual intercourses between children and adults are initiated by victims, family members, or people trusted by family, because those people know that they will most likely stay unreported. Parents are able to psychologically destroy you and make you believe that it's your fault. And another being children's artificial, completely made up by government, inability to take care of themselves if they must, that is, to provide for themselves, to earn for themselves. And while I in no way want the government to teach you how to be a good parent, I want every child to have freedom to ask for emancipation. And I want this process to be as easy as possible. I want this process to be as child-friendly as possible. That's why I'm pro-child labor. Because every child should have freedom to provide for themselves, by themselves, if they find it necessary. And for those anti-child labor viewers out there, whose argument will be, but the exploitation of a child. Literally, the only thing you have to do is not show up the next day. Change your workplace. Start taking kids seriously yourself. On the legal level too, every employee must have equal rights under the law. How about giving children a chance to manage their own lives? A chance that can help a girl to escape her parents who are forcing her to marry a 60-year-old. That can help a boy to earn money and provide for his single mom without becoming a thug. For some reason, it's still easier for them to take their life than to get control over it. So many children are growing up unhappy, just waiting for their childhood to be over. Each year, hundreds and thousands of children decide that they can't take it any longer and instead take their own lives. And you act like you care. Ask anyone, and they will tell you just how much they care. But your actions aren't those of caring adults. Most of the time, those people do things only to feel like morally advanced human beings. And somewhere along the way out there, they will stop caring about those they're supposed to be helping. That's how bridges all over the world are being disfigured with ugly fences and safe spaces are being opened up on campuses. Because even if it makes no progress for the suffering ones, it makes you feel better. And that's the only proof you need that altruism doesn't exist. Loving parents will prevent any exploitation of their children, and not loving ones are probably already abusing their children themselves. If anything, parents have to be encouraged to make their children listen to them, not because they are officially an authority, but by explaining and proving over and over that it's in their child's best interest to listen to their parents' advice. Businesses have to fight for our attention and prove that their products and services are our best choice. I find this behavior model perfectly suitable for parenting as well. Giving people freedom is what accelerates the prosperity of the society in every aspect of life. That's why I find any kind of discrimination, forced and endorsed by government, completely immoral.